Welcome to Focus on Scholarship. I'm Jaleh Rezaie, Associate Dean of Graduate Education and Research, and your host for today's session. Our goal at the graduate school and university libraries is to bring a focus and awareness to the exciting scholarly and creative achievements of our academic community. Our guest today is Isaac Powell. He is a graduate of the MFA program at Washington State University and now teaches painting and drawing in the Department of Arts and Design at EKU. In his still life depictions, Powell interweaves the themes of life, growth, reproduction, and creativity with those of his own personal history. Having been born without a right hand, the flora in his work directly references the body, its appendages, and digits. By addressing his own anxieties through the imagery of plant cuttings and graftings, he has developed his own vocabulary for confronting both awkwardness and beauty. Powell's work has been exhibited recently at the prestigious Armory Show in New York City and was featured in the VSA's 2010 Revealing Culture exhibition at the International Gallery of the Smithsonian Institution. His other exhibitions include those at Gallery 1724 in Houston, Texas, Blackfish Gallery in Portland, Oregon, and Manifest Creative Research Gallery and Drawing Center in Cincinnati, Ohio. In 2005, Powell was awarded $20,000 for his work titled Growth Plate, which was exhibited at the Dillon Ripley Center of the Smithsonian Institution. Welcome to our program, Isaac.
It's great to be here.
Tell me a little bit about your work.
Well, initially when I started to make art, I wanted to shy away from painting or drawing any type of work that had reference to the fact that I had one hand. I didn't want to use that handicap as a creative crutch. So initially my work was about anything but bodies or hands. Slowly through time, I decided I want to confront that fear that I had by actually painting and drawing hands, bodies, even my prosthetic, to actually confront my own fears with that. Over time, I developed my own kind of creative vocabulary by changing the hands and the prosthetics and the bodies to other things, such as flowers, cactus, ceramic vessels, painted ceramic vessels, that type of thing, so that you can equate the leaves on the limbs of trees to hands, which are on the limbs of the body. So leaves were analogous of hands in my work.
Well, that's very interesting. So out of all the disciplines of the visual arts, you picked painting and drawing for specifically that reason, or have you tried other medium?
Well, going through school, I tried a lot of different disciplines. It seemed to me that throughout my childhood, I had always loved to draw, so I was naturally gravitated to drawing. I found also that drawing encompasses all the other disciplines, and I wanted to be able to depict whatever I wanted to quickly on paper. So I decided to be a drawing major, and from there moved on to painting. I find that they're closely married together.
So what does the work of art makes it meaningful to you?
A work of art has to really catch the viewer's eye and sustain some type of interest. That's what makes a work of art interesting to me. Now that's going to vary from person to person. And in today's age, digital technology and things happen rapidly and so fast, that time has definitely decreased, and in a fairly stable media like painting, there isn't much movement going on. So with painting, you really have to be able to catch the viewer's eye and have something else in the image that's going to hold their interest.
So how did you become interested in teaching art?
I became interested in teaching in graduate school. Part of the stipend I was given in graduate school, part of my responsibilities with that was teaching a drawing class. So I taught beginning drawing. I was very nervous my first time, but after a week of teaching, I decided this was really something that I could do the rest of my life and be excited about.
So you think it's actually possible to teach creativity?
I do. I think in the past it's been kind of shied away from. Creativity is something that's hard to teach or impossible to teach, but creativity can definitely be taught.
How do you assess creativity? How do you assess your students?
It's an interesting task. The students are at all different levels. I found that assessing them happens on an individual one-on-one basis. By giving them a project and project guidelines, how well they accomplish those project guidelines, that's the best way to assess them. And this happens on an individual level. Oftentimes with my assignments, if the students don't necessarily want to follow the rules for the assignments or the guidelines for the assignments, I'll ask them to write their own guidelines for the assignment, what they want to come up with. And this, I hope, helps them think of ideas. I've actually got to put this on paper and decide in my head what I want to do beforehand. So
working as a professor of art, how does that affect your own creativity?
Oh, it's wonderful. Students come in with fresh ideas and new ideas and knowledge about technology that I'm not quite aware of yet. They're always one step ahead of me in that, so that for me is really exciting. The freshness also of having someone who's coming in maybe a little bit naive that gathers knowledge, that's really refreshing for me as well. Seeing someone really boost their career, it's exciting.
Now, the scholars in many fields communicate with each other through scholarship and publication and build on the work of the previous work of scholars. Is there such a medium available to the artist, and how do you communicate with other artists for your work and creativity?
Yes, there's plenty of avenues. Exhibitions for one. There's exhibitions in Lexington and Louisville and all over the United States and the world. And that's really, as artists, how we mainly communicate with one another. Also through writing. There's also residency programs that you can be immersed in with other artists from around the world. That's mainly how we communicate. Also through art history and teaching.
Okay, well, great. I do have one more question. This is the question I ask all the scholars here at EKU, and that is, you have a busy life with your scholarship and teaching and personal life. How do you balance everything? And do you have any advice for other scholars here at EKU?
Sure. During the semester, I'm pretty much devoted to teaching, and I put my scholarship kind of on a back burner. I feel like the students deserve and really require my full attention that way. However, during the semester breaks or the summer break, that's when you really need to delve into your creative work or scholarly work. That's typically what I've done in the past.
Well, thank you. We really appreciate spending the time with us today and answering our questions, and I hope the audience would benefit from your work and what you have done. That's it for this edition of Focus on Scholarship. Please join us next time as we continue our series of webcasts celebrating the scholarly and creative achievements of the faculty and staff at Eastern Kentucky University.